Ask yourself the question when you're putting your news pitch together, why now? People relate to people. 10 lenses the media use and how to shape your pitch. It may not be obvious, but the media have a lens through which they screen your pitches when you send them through, kind of like a checklist to determine whether or not they'll run with your story. If you know these 10 lenses, you can increase your chances of getting pickup, guaranteed. Hi, I'm Katie. Welcome to Maybe Pod. This is your countercultural open PR playbook podcast brought to you by international public relations agency Maybe. I'm the CEO and founder, and so glad that you found us. You're listening and tuning in today to a really important topic. Understanding these lenses, these 10 key lenses we'll go through, will increase your chances of pickup for your nonprofit international organization, purpose-driven company for your media pitching. So why do news lenses matter? Why should you know about and care about these top 10 news lenses? Well, let me give you top 4 reasons. They're how editors triage clutter, they guide headlines, they shape proof, and they speed decisions. Essentially, the media look through these lenses as a fast filter for, should we run this story? Is it newsworthy? Is it going to be entertaining and engaging for our audience? Should we bother to put it in our lineup? And if you know and can leverage and use these 10 lenses when considering your next media pitch, it's going to increase your chances of getting picked up. So what are the news lenses and how should we use them? Let's do a rapid fire of the top 10 and then we'll go into them in detail. So we've got timeliness, proximity, conflict or controversy, prominence, emotion, consequence, human impact, human interest, speculation or surprise, opinion, and oddity. That last one's my favorite. But what are these top 10? Let's go in detail. Timeliness. Ask yourself the question when you're putting your news pitch together, why now? Is it World Diabetes Day and you're a diabetes organization? That's timely. It's a timely story. Are you responding to a local disaster that's just happened in the country or region that you're in and you're putting out a statement about it? That's timely because the natural disaster, for example, using this metaphor, has just happened. This is a reason for the media to run with your pitch because it's timely to the story that's already unfolding. You can also use timeliness in a proactive way. So if you're launching a report, you might do an embargoed press release for it to launch on a Monday at 10 a.m. That's still timely because it's being launched on the Monday at 10 a.m. and it's a reason for the media to run the story on the Monday. So timeliness, one that's really easy to kind of put into your media pitching and think about. The second one, proximity. Why here? Now, this is a great opportunity. I mean, we do a lot of international public relations, which is really relevant, but we do a lot of local PR too. And so this is about bringing the local voice, your local perspective, into local stories. So proximity, where was it located? This is particularly interesting, for example, if you're pitching. One example is that being sun smart is a really important health message in Australia and particularly in Queensland because the UV levels are 3 or above most days of the year. So it's a relevant story for that locality, for that region. It may not be as relevant somewhere in Europe where we don't get high UV levels outside of summer. So think about the location and whether it's relevant to the media locally that you're pitching to. You can also bring local spokespeople into the mix or case studies. That really helps as well. The third one, conflict or controversy. Don't we all love a story that involves conflict or some kind of controversy? Now, it doesn't have to be the fact that your nonprofit, your international organization has caused the conflict or the controversy, but could you jump in and add a statement, newsjack off the back of it, that would add to the media's story? We obviously want to avoid controversial stories, but if we can use them to put our key messages and our themes forward as our organization, then they're a great way to pitch a story and a great lens that the media will use. Prominence. Who's said it? Now, this is a really big one. You see a lot of influencers, celebrity or TikTokers or social media influencers being used to come forward and speak, for example, on behalf of a nonprofit about the importance of cancer research. Prominence is a really common one that you see. If it's someone important that's talking about the issue, the media are going to be more likely to pick up that story in some cases. So you could use celebrities, you could use influencers, or you could use key spokespeople within your organization. So think about C-suite or senior level leadership roles that are really prominent people that give the media more reason to run your story. Emotion. People feel, and we like to read stories and watch TV programs and listen to the radio with real people and real emotion. So if you can bring emotion into a story, again, it's going to increase your chances of pickup. There's a lot of advocacy work that I used to do with Cancer Council in Australia. We did a lot of work around survivorship. So we added a human emotion element to that. So we brought in cancer patients or cancer survivors who had gone through treatment, really to bring to the fore the survivorship program that we were promoting and talking to the media about. But because we had that emotional element, something that other humans can connect to, it increased our chances and I'm pretty sure we did a lot of great media back then. So it would have got print, radio, television, online for sure. It's a great way, instead of just saying something dry like we have a new survivorship program, which may not be newsworthy, you can bring cancer survivors in to talk about their experience with the survivorship program and how important it is for the 1 in 2 people who'll be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. That makes a better media story. The next one is consequence. What changes because of this? You could be commenting on a topic that changes safety in your community, policy, rights. You can specify who is affected and by how much. Consequence really matters when it comes to local and international stories. You can also piggyback off a news event telling what the consequence will be for your stakeholders. That's also a really great way to use this media lens. Human interest. Who's the person at the center? This is similar to emotion, but it brings forward the human element even more. So bringing in case studies, bringing in local people that can talk about their experience. What is the human interest element? Again, people relate to people. So the more people that you can put in your media pictures and media stories, the more likely they are to get picked up. I love this one. Speculation or surprise. What didn't we expect? What's maybe a little bit out of the box? A good example I can think of for this is we did the campaign Australia's Biggest Morning Tea. We ran it every year in Australia when I was working for Cancer Council. And one year we did Australia's biggest cupcake for Australia's biggest morning tea. No, it wasn't that. It was the tea bag. It was the tea bag. We did the biggest cupcake, but we also did the biggest tea bag in Australia that toured around the country. That's a speculation and surprise. That was newsworthy. The tea bag was big, and it was impressive, and it gave a really nice visual for media, but it was surprise. It was interesting for media to cover. So Australia's biggest tea bag, if you remember one thing from this podcast today, take that one away and go for surprise in some of your media pitches. Opinion. What's the argued position? Are you putting forth an opinion in an opinion piece or a media release pitch that is newsworthy? If you have a defensible thesis and evidence and data to back you up, this can be a really great way to kind of cut through and get picked up by media. And I always advise my clients, other organizations, don't be afraid to have an opinion. It actually really matters in terms of cutting through the media. You could run the risk of polarizing some people, but that risk is so low compared to the risk of not stepping out there and sharing your story and having an opinion and getting the media coverage for it. And the last one is oddity. I love this one. What breaks the pattern? What is strange and unusual? The media want to run with novel stories. We all know those stories of people that are the oldest people in the world, or the tallest people in the world, or the smallest people in the world. The Guinness World Book of Records. I mean, that is the best example that is newsworthy, that's always run in online stories, in print, radio, TV, because it's odd. We love the oddity. So if your nonprofit or organization or international organization has something to do with oddity, I would probably say it's a lens that's less used, but it's one that can definitely get you forward in media coverage. So they are the 10 lenses in detail, but how do we use these lenses concretely? First, pick one dominant lens. You don't want to be out here adding 2, 3, 4 lenses. The media want it kept simple, so choose one lens out of these 10 and shape your media pitch around that. The big thing here is if you can't find an angle within these lenses, then perhaps you don't have an angle that is newsworthy for the media in the first place. So try your best to find an angle that matches one of these lenses. Secondly, match proof and data points to your chosen lens. So human case studies, research that's your owned or cited research, anything with data that can back up what you're putting forward through the lens with your pitch. The next one is great. Write the headline test. So put your headline together, put the lens within the headline if possible, step back and ask yourself, is this a newsworthy story now that I've incorporated the lens? And then add the editor step. Step into the shoes of the editor. Think, if this lens lands, where will it go to next? Will it become a TV story? Will it become a follow-up article to an article that's already been published? Will it be a radio grab? If you can think of it from the perspective of the editor, then you'll be able to see the full path forward if the lens is accepted and your story is picked up. So start small, one story, one lens, and one result to measure. See if these top 10 lenses won't help you with your media pitching. I almost guarantee it's going to change the game if you haven't been using them before. And if you try this, tell me which lens you picked and how it went. You can write anytime to call me at maybe.agency. This is Maybe Pod. We bring you public relations podcasts every week. Think of it as your countercultural open PR playbook. Anything you've ever wanted to know about PR and communications, write to us, let us know about the lenses, about any other questions you have. And we look forward to seeing you every single week. I'm Katie Clift. This has been really fun. The top 10 media lenses. I hope you use them, and I'll see you next time.